Photographing sunrises is one of my favourite things to do in landscape photography. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I like to use ND filters to create beautiful sunrise photos, no matter what brand of camera you're using. Recently, I reviewed the Haida NanoPro ND filter kit, and during that video, I managed to photograph one of the most stunning sunrises I've seen. So I thought I'd use the footage from that morning to create a tutorial sharing my creative thought process, settings, and techniques when it comes to ND filters. ND filters can help convey the feeling of motion, add drama, enhance colors, and even smooth out water. During a sunrise, this is the way I like to use them. When approaching a location, the first things I look for are the potential foregrounds or leading lines for my images. On this morning, the sky was literally on fire, and with much excitement, I began to set up and fire off shots. I started on the left-hand side of this pier, and due to the low light of blue hour, I opted for a 3-stop ND filter. This particular filter I use a lot for things like waterfalls, pre-dawn and post-sunset shots. Using this pier as a lead-in line out to the horizon, I got this shot, which was f8, ISO 64, and the exposure time was 164 seconds. From here, I decided to move on to the pier itself, again using it as a lead-in line out to the horizon. It was still relatively dark, so I stuck with the 3-stop ND filter. Meant to say too, just as soon as you get at the location, try to ascertain which way the cloud is moving and try and angle your shots in that direction so the cloud is either moving directly towards you or away from you. Here's an example time-lapse sunset I shot recently showing you exactly what I mean. You can see the cloud is moving evenly in both directions to the top left and right of frame. This creates a nice leading perspective line to the horizon in your images. Back at the pier and the light was starting to get brighter, so I opted now for a 6-stop ND filter. I moved to the base of the right-hand side of the pier. Again, using the pier as a lead-in line out to the horizon, I was able to capture this shot. You really can see the effect the ND filter has on smoothing out the water and creating those cloud trails. When taking long exposure shots using ND filters, always try to keep your ISO on a low setting. In this case, the 45 megapixel Nikon Z7 I'm using has a baseline ISO of 64. What this does is help keep the digital noise low in your images when it comes to dynamic range in post-processing. You may get a little noise, but that is far more fixable in post than using higher ISOs. I made my way down to the beach, and after the initial burn in the sky, it came back again, and I really love when nature does this. It was much brighter now, and I opted for the 10-stop ND filter from the Haida kit. Being in the right place at the right time can always pay dividends. In this case, I noticed a couple walked out to the end of this rock wall and stood still for quite some time while watching the sun come up. I fired off this shot, utilizing the couple in the frame, and I think this gives the image a sense of scale. From here, I ventured out to the end of that rock wall, and I have done this composition before on my channel, but I thought this was the perfect example of what I was saying earlier about getting cloud moving away or towards you. I even managed to capture a little sun star between this old rusty barrier as the sun peeked over the horizon. Main thing is to remember to get your exposure reading from the brightest section of your frame before adding your ND filter. In most cases, it's the sky, and then calculate your exposure time from your shutter speed reading. Reason for that is because in the post-processing of your images, it's much easier to recover shadows and darks than it is blown out highlights. It was truly amazing on that morning, and I was really lucky that all the things in nature aligned perfectly for me to get those images. I still had to pre-plan for that shoot, and using my Clear Outside app, it was giving me the guide of what to expect cloud-wise. Kind of perfect numbers, really. If you want to see more in terms of how I like to do my long exposures, you can check out this video right here, and it goes into more specifics about how I like to use bulb mode, the shutter release cable, and calculating the long exposures. Well, I hope this tutorial has actually helped somebody out there in YouTube land. As I always say, never stop creating, and I'll see you next time.